This program is brought to you by Emory University.
And Dean David Bartlett, will you present our fifth honored guest?
Mr. President,
Mr. Dean.
I have the honor to present to you the Honorable Arnold Schwarzenegger to receive the degree of Doctor of Laws.
Dr. Schwarzenegger. Arnold Schwarzenegger, public servant, environmentalist, philanthropist, rising from obscurity with extraordinary creativity, energy, hard work, and determination, you exemplify essential components of the American character and the possibilities that exist for all people of this land. Your service in behalf of inner city school children mirrors Emory's own commitment to community building and education. Your deep involvement in Special Olympics echoes Emory's own long engagement with Georgia Special Olympics. Your leadership of California to the vanguard in mitigating global warming and environmental degradation places you in solidarity with Emory's own initiatives toward sustainability and a green campus right here. We therefore confer on you with gratitude and applause the degree of Doctor of Laws, honoris causa. Congratulations. No, thank you. I'm going to welcome you to the platform right now. Just stay put. Right, stay put. At this time, in fact, I would like to ask Governor Schwarzenegger to deliver our keynote address this morning. Doctor?
Well, thank you very much, President Wagner and Dean Bartlett, for having me here today. Trustees, faculties, families, friends, and graduates. It is an honor to stand before you here and to receive this honorary Doctor of Laws degree. It is my first law degree. And finally, the Kennedys would think that I am successful. And finally, Maria can take me home and meet her family. Finally. Now, it is truly an honor to stand before you here on this joyous day as your commencement speaker. Now, I was also to go and give a commencement speech in Arizona. But with my accent, I was worried they're gonna deport me back to Austria. So I canceled that idea right away. Now I know that each of you is about to start your next chapter. So I'm here today to just tell you my story, and I'm here today to inspire you and to pump you up. Of course, I have to say that not everyone is going to be as hungry as I always was, or as ambitious, or as intense. And let me tell you, if someone told me that something is impossible, I will go out and do it. That's just the way I always was. I was told to my face, you're nothing but a giant muscle. You can't act. You have no future, and you have an accent that is laughable. And that's exactly what my wife Maria said to me on our first date. So we worked our way up slowly until we got married. So now she doesn't say those things anymore. Anyway, I want to begin by congratulating today's graduates, and that's all of you, the amazing men and women of the Emory University's class of 2010. You are our nation's newest nurses, doctors, teachers, social workers, ministers, artists, scientists, business leaders, and the list goes on and on. You really are an amazing crowd. Nearly 4,000 men and women who have dedicated themselves to study and to service, to environmental action, to social justice, and to public health. I know your students' body is among the most diversified in our nation's leading research universities. You represent nearly 50 states and 75 countries. You speak dozens of different languages. As a matter of fact, I was so impressed how many languages you speak that I decided to spice it up a little bit and to deliver the rest of my speech in German. Es ist ein ganz großes Vergnügen, bei euch hier in der Emory Universität zu sein. Und ich möchte mich recht herzlichst für Ihre Einladung bedanken. Ihr seid 4.000 Studenten. No, I'm just joking. I'm not gonna do that to you. I saw some worried eyes out there. So let's give, of course, let's go and just talk a little bit about the special remarkable accomplishments of all of you that you've made. But of course, you would not be here today without the love and the support of your families. Let's give them a big round of applause for the great work that they have done. And let's not forget the faculty and staff whose hard work helped shape you into this tremendous people that you are today. Let's give them also a big hand. Now, over the last few weeks, I was a little bit worried about and was wondering what I should be talking about here today. So, of course, I sent my staff out and did a little survey here among some of your students. And it was interesting when you look at the numbers. 17% wanted me to be inspirational. 23% wanted me to give practical advice. And 30% just wanted to have their money back from my movie Jingle All the Way. Can't get no respect around here. But anyway, the other 30% wanted me to say the following lines. So here we go. Hasta la vista, baby. It's not a tumor. It's not a tumor at all. Crush your enemies. See them driven before you and hear the lamentation of the women. I'll be back. So now we have that out of the way. I just try to satisfy everybody here. I really wanted to talk to you about my rules of success and about visualizing your dreams, because it is so important to know exactly what you want to accomplish and what you want to do. I mean, the key principles also are, and they brought me incredible success always in several careers, from bodybuilding to acting and from public service to politics, are simply the rules of work like hell, trust yourself, break some rules, don't be afraid to fail, ignore the naysayers, and stay hungry. Let me tell you, I've made a fortune in several careers, and I've been very successful in several careers by ignoring the naysayers and believing in myself. Imagine you're 15 years old and you're in Austria and you say to the people, I want to be the bodybuilding champion of the world. Of course they come to you and say, but wait a minute, this is not an Austrian sport. Skiing, you should be a ski champion, a soccer champion, or a track and field champion, that's Austrian. But bodybuilding, that's an American sport. But you know something, I had it very clear in my vision and I knew exactly what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a bodybuilding champion. And I started training 1 hour a day, 2 hours a day, 3 hours a day. By the time I was in military service, with the age of 18, I trained 4 or 5 hours a day. And I became the youngest Mr. Universe ever, the youngest world championship at the age of 20. So much for it can't be done. And right after that, because like I said, you have to be hungry, I went after my next goal, which was to come to America. My whole life I wanted to come to America. I came over here with empty pockets, but full of dreams, full of desire. I had this fire in the belly, and I knew that the United States was where I could really succeed. The possibilities here are endless. I wanted to live the American dream because this is the land of opportunity. I knew that this was where I could continue my bodybuilding career and start acting also, go into the acting profession. So I immigrated here, and I kept training and training hours every day, 5 hours, 6 hours a day, and won one world championship after the other. By the time I was finished with bodybuilding, I won 13 world championship titles, more than anyone. And then again, I was hungry to move on, because you can't do bodybuilding for the rest of your life. I wanted to move on, and I knew it was acting that I wanted to get into. But again, I faced the same obstacles where people said it can't be done. When I talked to agents and they said to me, you cannot become just an actor and walk into movies. I say, I just don't want to become an actor. I want to be a leading man. They say, well, forget about that, and they laughed. I mean, with your accent, no one has become a leading man with your accent. And with your body, look at all those bumps sticking out. This overdeveloped body they were in 20 years ago when they did Hercules movies, but now it's Dustin Hoffman, it's Al Pacino, it's Woody Allen. Those are the new sex symbols. Don't you understand it? Look at you. Forget it. It will never happen. And with your name, Schwarzenschnitzel, or whatever your name is, I can see that already up there on the billboards. That isn't going to sell any tickets. But you know something? I didn't listen to them. I started working very hard, just like in bodybuilding. 5-6 hours a day. I went to acting classes, speech classes, dialogue classes, accent removal classes. Everything that you can think of, I did. And slowly, everything started happening. All of those liabilities that they talked about started turning into assets. When I did Conan the Barbarian, the director came to me and he said, if we wouldn't have you, we would have had to build one. And on Terminator, the director said, I couldn't imagine to have anyone play Terminator that wouldn't have an accent and that wouldn't have your body. I cannot imagine the line, I'll be back, with a normal American accent. It works so perfectly that you have this German accent. So all of those things that they said are liabilities became an asset. As moment went on, it grew and grew, and I went from one movie to the next, started making more and more money, and then I ended up being the highest paid actor with $30 million on Terminator 3. That just shows you again so much for it can't be done. This is why I try to tell you, anything and everything can be done if you can visualize it and if you believe in yourself. It was the same thing again when I ran for governor. You can imagine when I went on the Tonight Show and I announced that I'm going to run for governor of the great state of California. People came to me afterwards and said, you're crazy. You don't announce something like this on the Tonight Show. You have an official press conference at the state capitol. Plus, you don't start with governorship. You go start first with mayor or with state senator. And I said, I don't want to be senator. I don't want to be mayor. I want to be governor. Don't you understand that? Well, the rest is history. I won in 2003, and I won also in 2006. Let me tell you, you're going to find the naysayers in every turn that you make. Don't listen. Just visualize your goal, know exactly where you want to go. Trust yourself. Get out there and work like hell and break some of the rules and never, ever be afraid of failure. I couldn't have gone to one lifting event in my life if I would have been afraid of failure. Because of course there's a chance that you can fail. When you lift the weight, I tried 10 times to lift and bench press 500 pounds. And I failed, but the 11th time I did it. So never give up and never be afraid of failure, because otherwise you box yourself in and you limit yourself. I was never afraid to fail when I ran for governor. I was never afraid to fail to tackle anything, because you should not be afraid of failure. That's just part of life. I've lived by those principles, and I've had a lot of fun doing it, and I made a lot of money at the same time. And of course, I have to tell you that no matter how successful you get, no matter how old you get, you always have to be hungry for more. You always have to be hungry for learning new things, because you never learn enough. I, for instance, learned, when I grew up, I always thought that greatness was directly tied to fame and fortune. I thought that the big career and the money and the achievement would equal success, but I was dead wrong. But I learned that later on. I learned that totally by coincidence. When the University of Wisconsin did a research program on what effect weight training would have for Special Olympians, for intellectually challenged people, they called me. They said, Arnold, you're the expert in this subject. We want you to come up to the university and to help us with our program, to help us with our Special Olympians. And I flew up to the University of Wisconsin, and I helped. And there were these kids. The first exercise we decided to do was bench press, and they were all standing in line. The first kid laid down on a bench. I put a 40-pound barbell over his chest, and he did a simple exercise of bench press. He did 10 reps. Then he got up, and then the next one laid down. I put the barbell over his chest, and then that kid started breathing really heavy, and all of a sudden he started screaming really loud. And he jumped up, I put the bar back, and he started shaking. I realized that he was scared of the weight. So I calmed him down. I said, "It's okay. Just watch your friends do the bench press, and maybe you want to try it again." And the friends came through, and they did all their bench press, and everyone did great performance. And then all of a sudden, he stood in line on the end and tried again. He laid down. This time I gave him the empty bar, just the 20 pounds. And he did 10 reps. And then I said, "You want to have more plates on it? More weight?" He said, "Yes." So I put 2 more plates on it. Now it was back to the 40 pounds that he had earlier. And he did 10 more reps. Then he said, "More." Then I put 2 more plates on it. Now it was 60 pounds. He did another 10 reps. And he said, "More." He did then 80 pounds. And then I lifted the weight off, and he jumped up, high-fived everyone, and he was so excited. And it was a real eye-opener for me, because when I saw that kid going from terror to self-confidence in that short period of time, and that I had that effect on him, that I could do that, I was so excited about this. As a matter of fact, I went home to the hotel that night, and I was so delighted, and I said to myself, "What is going on here? Wait a minute, I didn't make any money. It was not a career move at all. It was nothing. Why am I so excited?" Well, let me tell you, I figured out that it was because I was reaching out and helping someone that needed help. And my father-in-law, Sergeant Schreiber, who started during the Kennedy administration and Johnson administration, the Peace Corps, the Job Corps, legal aid to the poor, Head Start, and all of those very important programs. He gave a speech at the Yale University, and he said it very clearly when he said to the students, "Tear down that mirror. Tear down that mirror that makes you always look at yourself. Tear down that mirror, and you will be able to look beyond, and you will see the millions and millions of people that need your help." And I realized then when he said that, that's what happened to me that day. That I tore down my mirror that made me always look at myself and always worry about how can I get rich, how can I get famous, how can I make money, how can I make a career move. I tore down that mirror and looked beyond and saw all the Special Olympians that needed my help. So this was a great, great learning. That's why I say stay hungry to learn those new things. For years now, I've been involved in Special Olympics. For years, I've become the national coach, the international coach, the torchbearer, the ambassador for Special Olympians, and traveling all around the world and helping them, pumping up those athletes, marching in with them into stadiums, training with them, waiting at the finish line to hug them and congratulate them and put the medal over their head and hang it around them. This has been such a wonderful thing and such a satisfying thing. As a matter of fact, in one of those trips, I went to South Africa, and there I got to meet my hero, one of my heroes, Nelson Mandela. Talk about greatness. See, there's a different greatness than what I ever thought is so important. He spent 27 years in prison because he believed black South Africans should be equal. But when he was released from prison, he, instead of seeking revenge, he talked about forgiveness. Mandela said the most important thing was reconciliation and bringing his country together. As a matter of fact, after he was released from prison, he had lunch with the wife of the prime minister who was the architect of apartheid. Think about that, having lunch with her. The man that was responsible for putting him into prison. Mandela became a living message of love, inclusion, and tolerance. Now that is greatness. Helping others and looking beyond that mirror is my measure of greatness today. That's what makes me feel good about myself, and I can tell you today I'd rather go to an after-school program and help a little girl and play chess with her than going down another red carpet at a movie premiere. I know that one of the reasons that you invited me, one of the reasons why you invited me here today was to honor my commitment to public service. That is a great honor, coming from a university that has distinguished itself through service. I know that you're not just famous all over the country and all over the world because of the great education that you provide here, but also because of your extraordinary service in reaching out to the community and to the state. As a matter of fact, one of my favorite things that you do here is host the Georgia Special Olympic Games. What a great accomplishment. You've been doing this at this university for 2 decades. Let's give the university a big hand for that great, great work. Now, I want to thank you on behalf of my mother-in-law, Eunice Kennedy Shriver, who started Special Olympics more than 40 years ago. We lost her this last year. But I know that she's looking right down from heaven right now and smiling, knowing that I'm talking about Special Olympics and thanking you for the great work that you've done. Because she changed the world by starting the Special Olympics movement. And she's a shining example of the chain reaction that begins simply of one person taking that simple step forward. Of course, she had the naysayers. It wasn't easy. When she said, I wanted to take those Special Olympians, those people out of those institutions, everyone said, all the experts said, this is the wrong thing to do. If they start doing sports, they will hurt themselves and they will hurt each other and they will drown in a swimming pool. But she was not listening to the naysayers. She moved on, she campaigned and she called and pushed relentlessly for human and civil rights. And she never took no for an answer. And now, because of that, Special Olympics is in 179 countries all over the world. And millions of kids are now participating in sports and getting health care and dental care and getting jobs. As a matter of fact, I have a Special Olympian in my office. John is doing such a great job delivering the mail all over my office and always coming up with new ways of being more efficient. I wish the rest of the politicians in our state capital are as efficient as he is, trust me. But this is extraordinary to see his work. And I believe that we each have the same responsibility to use our voice and to serve and to make a difference. I take that responsibility really seriously. And that is why I ran for governor of the great state of California, because I knew that it could reach out to 38 million people. That is why it gives me such a satisfaction today. Believe me, when I was 15 years old, I never thought that I ever would become governor of California. I'm one of those fortunate ones that went way beyond his dreams. And another thing that I would have never dreamt in my wildest dreams was that I would work for free for 7 years as governor. Never. But I knew serving California would be an opportunity for me to make a difference, not only in my state, but to make a difference in this country and to make a difference in the world. Because as an immigrant, it is very important to give back, more so than on anyone. If you're born here, it's important to give back. But if you come here as an immigrant, it's twice as important to give something back. Because this country received you with open arms. This is the land of opportunity. I know that I would have not accomplished even 10% of the things that I accomplished if I wouldn't have come to the United States. This is, without any doubt, the greatest country in the world. Even though there's so many people complaining about America, I say to them, shut up. This is the greatest country in the world. This is why I wanted to give something back. So I became governor, and we started to make things change. We changed things to rebuild California's infrastructure, workers' compensation. We reformed government to make government run more efficiently and to fight global warming and reduce our greenhouse gas emissions by 25% by the year 2020 to fight global warming, and also not to rely on the oil that comes from countries that hate us. Yes, we're going to fight and continue doing that. And finally, we also woke up the federal government to make sure that they have an environmental policy in place very soon and an energy policy. Those are the kind of positive changes that I went after. With all of this action happening, it was all happening because we worked very hard. We didn't think about ourselves, but we thought about how can we help the state and the country. And we went out global. Now, of course, when I talk about this, when I talk about how important it is for each and every one of you to go out and do that, I don't think about that you should go global or that you should go that big. Like I said, I just happen to be very ambitious. You all should go and be hungry for success. You should be hungry to make your mark, and you should be hungry to be seen and to be heard and to have an effect out there. But as you move on and become successful, make sure to also stay hungry for helping others and looking beyond that mirror. Start by simple things like coaching a school soccer team, or helping a child learn and to read, or deliver meals to someone who is homebound. We in California now have 7 million volunteers. And I was the first governor to appoint a cabinet secretary to be in charge of volunteerism and service. Now other governors are doing the same thing around the country. Us use your power of potential and make this nation and this world a better place. It worked for this immigrant that came over here to this country with $20 in a pocket, and I know and I guarantee you it will work for you too, the 2010 graduates of Emory University. I am proud of each and every one of you of how far you've come, and I know you're going to be great, great contribution to the state and to the world. So congratulations once again, and God bless all of you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
The preceding program is copyrighted by Emory University.